Hey all, Hibber here. Okay, so today I'm going to take a look at something that's not in the game yet. It has been on PC, I don't know if it still is, and I tried it out on PC and I was a little bit meh about the implementation there. So obviously I'm talking about submarines. And I think they definitely have a home in Legends, but they need to be implemented correctly. And to show you how I think they should be implemented, I am going to show you footage from what is probably the best submarine game out there, which is Battle Stations Pacific. And I think this is pretty much what I want to see in Legends when/if we ever get submarines in the game. So some people say, oh, we don't want submarines on Legends, but I think it's definitely, it would be a good thing for the game. Now, we already have carriers, and honestly, I'm not a carrier person, but I mean, I don't have anything against them either. I think they're pretty much perfect the way they are on Legends right now. I mean, if you're not paying attention, you get punished by them. But it's not like they're overpowered, and I mean, it's fair enough. If a carrier wants you sunk, well, you will be sunk then if he focuses you the whole battle. But it's not like they can one-shot you or anything like that. So I think, as boring as I think carriers are, I think they implement it quite nicely. And yeah, I don't really have any like strong feelings about them either way. They're just there. And usually, unless I get focused by a carrier in a battle, then I totally forget they're there. So I guess that's the way you want it, because yeah, it's just a pretty neutral area for me. And that's the same way I would like to see submarines implemented. I realize, I mean, submarines are a little bit tricky to, implement because they're so different. Obviously, they sail underwater, and if you go for a more historically correct implementation, well, then pretty much destroyers would be the only ships and some cruisers capable of really being a threat to submarines, using primarily depth charges and like of certain different kinds. There are like many different ones in the World War II theater. And unlike carriers, I mean, submarines have been around for when World War II broke up, they'd been around for more than 100 years, I guess. I mean, not in, the advanced World War II versions, but they've been around. It's not like carriers who just showed up pretty much one day and ended surface ship warfare on the Tuesday. I mean, submarines, I think, are extremely fun to play, and especially in an implementation here, like in Battle Stations Pacific, where it's more of an action-oriented approach. Here, for example, like you take 2 torpedoes and it's okay. I mean, I don't think any real submarine would take 2 torpedoes broadside like that and be able to ever surface again. But that's not the point here. The point is that it should be fun to play, and it shouldn't be overpowered, and also it shouldn't be too difficult to play. And that's going to be a very difficult balance to strike right in Legends, if ever we get the submarines. I mean, I'm not saying we do. I would assume, I mean, if the game continues for another 2 years, which I'm assuming it will, I would think that we'd probably get submarines at some point. I mean, it's a pretty obvious addition to the game that I think would benefit everyone. Because, I mean, submarines are difficult to play. I mean, yes, you can't see them, but there are so many ways to counter them. And even here in Battle Stations Pacific, I mean, they are tough to play. See, there's a torpedo just sliding past me here in very nice Red October style. And I think they're really, really fun. And like I said, if the implementation in Legends is anywhere near what's available here on Battle Stations Pacific, which was done more than a decade ago, so definitely that should be doable. I think that it would be a definite boon for the Legends game and the community as a whole, really. So here in Battle Stations Pacific, submarines are definitely not overpowered. As long as there's a destroyer in the game, you're pretty much at the mercy of the destroyer. And that's why I also, in the beginning of this game, I went straight for the first destroyer and used the shallow water to keep him at bay so I could get my torps on him. Of course, real life, you would never surface in front of a destroyer, just like in the Tom Hanks movie. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, you could surface in a submarine if you just had a few cargo ships you could take out with your deck gun, but like surfacing against a destroyer, that's suicide. Anyway, it's not a historically correct game, this one, or Legends for that matter. It's about fun, and submarines are going to bring fun, that's for sure. It's also interesting to have, like a 3D sort of battle. Depends on the implementation and how it all gets to work. See, I just avoided another broadside of torpedoes there. So as I was saying before, of course here you get 3D battles underwater, where you can also go up and down, not just left and right. And I'm going to test it out against this American submarine here that just fired torpedoes at me. So obviously he's on reload, except for that naughty torpedo there that again struck me, but somehow we survive. And like I said, it's not realistic, but it's fun. So we're gonna just line up the torps here and give him a little bit of his own medicine. I mean, that's fun. That's fun. That's a lot of fun, and especially setting up these strikes here. This game here is against the computer, so there's really no, being secretive or anything like that, because the AI is cheating like crazy in this game. But if you play against humans in the multiplayer version of Battle Stations Pacific, you can set up some really advanced attacks using submarines, where you really, you really plan your approach and make sure you got the destroyers off your back. Like in this example here, this USS Batch here is just about to drop depth charges on me, and that's why I'm going down as far as I can. I'm trying to outturn him as well, and it seems to work here because he loses track of where I am. And these things are just fun, and it would also give the sonar in Legends, another purpose. Because imagine if this was Legends and that destroyer there popped the sonar, well, that would be the end of me. So I only see pluses, including submarines. So we got carriers, and everyone survived. I mean, mostly. I haven't seen a lot of hate toward carriers in the community, really, and if subs can be implemented anywhere near the same way carriers have been, I think they're going to be a great success. I'm pretty sure of that. And there are so many ways that submarines can benefit the gameplay as well. I'm not sure if a submarine should be able to cap, actually. I'm still thinking about that, but I guess perhaps if it was able to cap slower than other ships, and by capping I mean if you take your submarine, obviously submerged, into a cap and you are, accumulating points. I was just thinking that perhaps that's a little bit unfair, but again, it all depends on the implementation. And I played submarines a little bit on PC just to see how they were done, but I don't think that is the right way to do it. And I think Wargaming agreed, because I think they took them out of the PC version again to rework them. And I'd say look at Battle Station Pacific and how it's done in that game, because that's pretty much spot on. Of course, it will require a game mechanics change, where destroyers are actually able to drop depth charges, and not just depth charges. I mean, some of them have like the anti-submarine special weirdo guns and stuff like that. So it would require like a few small changes. But if you look at the destroyer models in game, they already have depth charges lying on the deck. Well, not lying on the deck, but sitting in launchers on the deck. And you could also have the special anti-submarine Fletcher versions that have the weird porcupine firing mechanism there in this game, and they are definitely deadly to submarines, because they sort of shoot an underwater mortar, really. If you are worried about submarines being too powerful, then it's just a matter of equipping the surface ships with better anti-submarine equipment, really. And I don't think submarines are going to be powerful because, well, they can't really take a hit. I mean, in this game here, yes, they can, because I'm also playing on easy mode here. But if you crank it up to hard, which I think it should be, then if you take a torpedo, you're dead. And if you surface like I did in the beginning and you take on a destroyer, well, you're also dead, because, well, that just can't be done. So, speaking of which, I'm going to surface again here, because on the surface in this game, and I'm assuming in real life as well, the submarines actually turn tighter, and I just can't outturn this destroyer here underwater, so I'm going to have to take a chance here. Now, I know in real life submarines are faster when they are, you know, not submerged, but I'm not sure they actually turn faster. I don't know, but perhaps I'll Google that. So, pretty much the same approach I had with the last destroyer. Get him to take me face on, because I don't have any rear-facing torpedoes in this boat here. Or the ship here. Well, this is U-boat, I guess. So I'll have to get my front torps into action. And that's the last destroyer. There's only 2 here for me to worry about. And that means I can submerge again and get closer to that convoy, which is the whole point here. I have to sink 2 ships in the convoy. And that's another thing we don't have in Legends. It is, you know, scenario or escort missions or anything like this, where, you know, one team could be, you know, a bunch of destroyers, and the other team could be a bunch of submarines, and the destroyers pretty much have to do exactly what the destroyers are doing in this game here, you know, protect the merchant ships, and obviously the submarines would have to sink the merchant ships. And I think that would be a lot of fun, really a lot of fun. I mean, in Battle Stations Pacific, it certainly is great fun, because you can do exactly that in this game. And I know it doesn't have a lot of, like, a big player base anymore, because, like I said, it's a decade old. But once you get into a game and you're actually able to to play against other people, this game here just takes on a whole other meaning. And here we're doing the good old surface and take out the merchant ships with the deck gun. And I mean, that did happen. I must say that, but I don't think I have ever heard of a submarine surfacing and then taking out a destroyer with the deck gun, except probably one in the Tom Hanks movie. And again, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, so there's no one to defend this convoy anymore, and I can pretty much just go to town here, which is obviously good fun. So like I said, the submarine missions in Battle Stations Pacific are really awesome, actually. There's a really interesting one in the campaign where you have to sneak a submarine unspotted into Sydney Harbor, and I think you have to sink a ship in the innermost part of the harbor or something like that. And it is very difficult, and it's a lot of fun. And like I said, the submarines are just implemented so well in this game here, and like most people think they're just like an afterthought, because this is like a surface warfare game, really, but they're not. Actually very well implemented and very well done, and like super well thought out, I think. And this is the implementation here that I would like to see in Legends. And also, of course, it also looks really good. Like, if you imagine this game here is 10, 11, 12 years old, and yeah, it's got a 4K upgrade here on the Series X, but still, it looks pretty good for this age. So, and just to be clear here, I haven't heard anything about submarines being included in Legends, or I haven't even heard any rumors or anything like that. This is just me giving my opinion here on an addition to the gameplay, which I think would be beneficial to the players, the community, and obviously the game itself. And instead of making a long list of how I think submarines should be implemented, I think show is better than telling. So I thought I would just show how Battle Stations Pacific did it, and then say, this is what I want. Anyway, let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below, and I'll see you out there.